Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Saturday, August 21st. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 12 days, the game against Michigan in 98 days. Exactly 1 week from today is week 0 of the 2021 college football season with 7 games on the schedule, including Nebraska at Illinois. Yes, friends, the offseason is almost over. Hang in there. We've almost made it. The Ohio State recruiting drought is also over. The Buckeyes added a flurry of commitments in late June and early July. They've gone about 6 weeks without adding anyone, which counts as a major crisis these days, apparently. That all ended this week with the commitment of 2023 tight end Ty Lockwood. My guest this morning is Buckeye Scoop recruiting analyst Marc Givler. And Marc, before we get to Ty Lockwood, I want to ask you, August 21st, 1 year ago today, August 21st, 2020, do you remember where you were? Because we did a Buckeye, a morning scoop with you in a hotel room somewhere west of Columbus. That's your hint. Do you remember where you were 1 year ago today on August 21st?
I'm good with events. I'm not great with dates. Try to the parent protest in Chicago.
It was the parent protest in Chicago. How times have changed. I think we're all in a better place right now than we were a year ago. Marc's on the road right now, covering some high school football games. We're going to talk about that a little later on. But all right, so yes, so thankfully you don't have to go stand outside an empty Big Ten office today. Instead, you get to cover some high school football. But before we talk about high school football, we're going to talk a little bit about recruiting. So let's get into Ty Lockwood. What is Ohio State getting in Lockwood? He's a 2023 tight end, but where would he fit in the offense and all of that?
Yeah, they're getting a very prototypical tight end for what they're looking for in their system. 6'5", 235, big body, going to be able to handle all the blocking assignments. But he can also run. He stretches the field pretty well. At the high school level, he's running away from defensive backs. I don't know if he's going to do that in college, but he's a big athletic guy. And again, just the physicality jumps out to me, both as a blocker. He seems to really enjoy it, which is half the battle. And also when he's an open field runner, he's a physical open field runner. He likes to finish off his runs. Just a really tough kid and a guy that I think fits in with a lot of, the Nick Vannettes and the Jeff Hiremans of the world that they've recruited over the years that are the big bodied that can also catch the ball a little bit and maybe had understated careers at Ohio State, but ended up being really good professionals and maybe underappreciated at Ohio State. He's that type of guy.
So now that the drought, and I'm making air quotes here, the drought is over, what should people read into Ohio State not getting a commitment between early July and then this week, and then not having a 2023 commitment at all until now? Is that something that was like a reason for concern or continues to be a reason for concern? Or is that just kind of a result of guys in that 2023 cycle just being behind because of the long dead period?
Yeah, with 2023, any panic was kind of over the top. I mean, there's nothing to be concerned about. A lot of these juniors were making their first college visits this summer. A lot of these 2023 kids had not made any college visits until June. So everyone's playing from behind a little bit right now. Ohio State's in a position here to maybe pick up a few commitments this fall. So everything's moving in the right direction. Just took, I guess, a little longer than usual, but I think people look at Oklahoma, who's got a few commitments right now, and they're going to have to hang on to those guys. But, they got a few commitments right now, but that's really about it. No one else is like off to this roaring start right now. I think everyone's kind of getting their evaluations in. Kids are getting their visits in, seeing who they're serious about. And, there's really no reason for excitement at this point. And, look, Ohio State fans always compare their recruiting success to Alabama's recruiting success. Nick Saban's going to worry about 2023 in about 6 months. He's not worried about 2023 right now. So why should Ohio State be? I mean, you just get your evaluations in and start your relationship building, but you don't need to have 8 commitments right now.
So that's from the player side. That's why the players are a little behind. Is Ohio State as a program kind of where they are normally in terms of like sending out offers at this point in the cycle? Or is that another place where, are they kind of lagging a little behind because of everything that's happened over the last year or so? And presumably then is everyone else also in that same boat?
Yeah, I think they're having to be a little more selective right now just because sophomore film was so choppy. Some kids didn't have sophomore seasons. Some did. They were a few games. There were breaks in between. And so I think there's a lot of things that slowed down the evaluation process, but they did a great job of getting a lot of guys on campus in June for camps. So I think they saw a lot of guys in June. So I mean, maybe a little behind. I think they'll catch up here pretty quickly as the high school season kicks off. You'll get those early 3-4 game reels out, and I think they'll be right where they normally are pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, they lost some evaluation time, and they've they've actually been trending to be more selective anyway recently. So I don't know that it's a huge issue.
I'm going to preface this next conversation with the timing these things is always dicey thing that we always say in terms of when guys are going to commit and all that. Every time we have the, who's the next guy to commit conversation, everybody always says Josh Padilla, offensive lineman. But I mean, I'm going to take him off the table. So give people some other names that they should know as possibilities, 2022, 2023 guys who, maybe leaning towards Ohio State at this point could potentially be one of those next couple guys to come in for either of those classes at some point in the next few months, let's say.
Yeah, well, first of all, with Josh Padilla, he may not be the guy anyway. I just talked to him a few days ago, and he's talking about making official visits in the spring. So that may actually slow down a little bit. We'll have to see how his unofficial visits go here in September. But yeah, there's a few guys I think that are kind of right there on the verge. Derek LeBlanc, a big time defensive lineman out of Florida, Central Florida. Probably defensive tackle, might be defensive end, could be a strong side end, I guess, but maybe trending towards being like a Draymond Jones type of guy. He's Ohio State's the clear leader there. That's kind of, he's been up there, I think it was 3 times this summer, might even 4. It felt like 7, but he was up several times in the summer. That one's getting close. Carnell Tate, big time wide receiver, has a decision date for October 8th. When you set a date, which he has, of course, usually there's a school in mind. Personally, I think it's going to be Ohio State. Could be Notre Dame, but I personally like Ohio State right now. And then you just kind of see if he doesn't get pushed off that date or anything like that in the meantime. But that's looking pretty good right now for Ohio State, I think. And then there's AJ Harris, 5-star defensive back out of Alabama. I mean, really Columbus, Georgia, but he plays on the other side of the border there in Alabama. And he's coming up, I believe, October 9th for the Maryland game. And it wouldn't shock me to see a decision there pretty soon, possibly before Thanksgiving. So that'd be one to keep an eye on for sure.
This is the first week of high school football. You were in Dayton on Thursday night to see a game. CJ Hicks, of course, the 5-star linebacker, got to see him again for the first time this season. We saw him, I think, at camp over the summer, but got to see him on the field. How did CJ Hicks look as a high school? He's a senior now. Wow, yes, time flies. CJ Hicks, high school senior. How did CJ Hicks look this week?
Feels like just yesterday. He was a freshman working with Jeff Halfley at the Ohio State camps. Time flies. Tough loss for his team. They only had 4. I went back. I had to double check if I put this on Twitter. I'm like, was that right? I had to go back and double check the film. They had 4 offensive possessions. That's how quick that game moved. They had 4 offensive possessions the entire game. Had a tough turnover inside the 10. It kind of cost them. Had a couple other bounces not go their way. But CJ had a tremendous game. He had a 70-plus yard touchdown run called back for an illegal block that has been legal for 98% of the history of football. But it was one of those new crackback block rules. They're trying to get that out of the game, and there was a crackback block on it. So it got called back. He also had a long run that set up their one touchdown that they actually did count. And then I got him for about a dozen tackles on defense. And given the fact that I think he only played about 5 defensive possessions and he only played a couple of the offense, he didn't play all of the offensive possessions. He had a great game from a number standpoint in terms of how few possessions there were and what he was able to do. But my biggest takeaway is, he's playing Mike linebacker. We'll see what he plays at Ohio State in terms of Mike, Will, whatever. But he looks like a linebacker. I don't think this is a bullet situation. I don't think, he's a hybrid. He looks like a linebacker. If you didn't know CJ Hicks's backstory of starting off at corner and his development, everything like that, if you just saw him on Thursday night, you would say that is a pure linebacker.
And we are recording this before you go to your game on Friday night, but you are in the lovely state of Indiana today, as you were 1 year ago today, as it turns out, and you are seeing the same guy you saw last year. So let people know who that is and what you're looking for out of him.
Yeah, going to see Caden Curry, 4-star defensive lineman, Center Grove High School, just outside of Indianapolis. This will be a little less awkward this year. Last year, we were driving back from the Big Ten parents' protests, wondering why college football couldn't be played, but we could be allowed in the stadium for a high school game. So that'll be off the table this year. So that'll be a little more normal. I'm curious. His body has not really grown from last year. Like, he's still kind of in the same ballpark physically. And so with Ohio State kind of moving away from the left and right defensive end and kind of going back to more of a traditional weak side, strong side, I'm wondering if Curry maybe won't just stay as like a strong side end. But he does remind me a little bit of Draymond Jones as well. I know I kind of compared LeBlanc to that, but Cade reminds me of that a little bit too. I think he's an inside outside combo guy, interior pass rusher or a strong side end type guy. And he dominated last year, so it's hard. It's a high bar. I don't know what more I could see out of him than what Tony and I saw last year with getting in the backfield, TFL sacks. I think he blocked a punt and scooped it up, ran it back for a touchdown. So he set a very high bar last year. But I kind of see where he's at body wise, and where he's lining up and how he's doing at different spots, because they're going to move him around as well.
All right. Well, you mentioned there a year ago, driving back from the Big Ten parent protest and getting to see high school and why can't the Big Ten play? Mark, that sounds like that would be a fantastic subject to make a movie about. And wouldn't you know it? Guess what Buckeye Scoop's doing? We're making a movie about just that very thing, Fight for Football, Saving the 2020 Season. That documentary is coming out in just over a week. We've got the world premiere scheduled on August 30th at the Lenox Theater, right across the river from campus. If you want to be there for it, I have been closely involved in the production process of that film, and we've been in and out of that production company's offices a ton this week as we're kind of finishing things up. It is turning into quite a fantastic film. If you want to be there for that premiere, you got to be a member of BuckeyeScoop.com. So sign up today. And in addition to having access to the world premiere of that fantastic film, you also get access to all of our great team of insiders. Our Ask the Insiders board has been humming with information. Our whole team is on the road this weekend for the most part, covering high school games, covering high school players to know, all sorts of great stuff. So you're going to have all sorts of recruiting stuff this weekend. Next weekend, you're heading into that film. You're heading into game week for Ohio State. This is a fantastic time to become a member of BuckeyeScoop.com. Sign up today. You get access to our team of insiders, all sorts of fun special events as we head into the season, so much more. That's all at BuckeyeScoop.com. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop. At the end of this video, you're going to have something that pops up that shows you like another video you can watch from our channel, which you'll undoubtedly love. So you should do that. But first, click on the little circular Buckeye Scoop logo on the right-hand side. That'll subscribe you to our channel. And what will happen then is you'll get notified every time we post a new video. So that's every time we post a new podcast, a new interview with players and coaches, practice footage, high school football film of guys who Ohio State is recruiting, so much more. That's all at youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. It's all free. All you have to do is subscribe, and then you never miss anything. Seems like a pretty easy decision to me, but what do I know? I'm already subscribed. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.